Okay, great. All right. Well, let's start, friends. First of all, welcome to this call, and I want to start us off saying that like this is the first call of this series. I hope it's gonna grow into a lot of couples and individuals that want to join us here on talking about um, intimacy and relations dynamics. And Sasha and I met. How long ago did we meet?
Almost 9 years ago.
Almost 9 years ago, in a community practicing orgasmic meditation. It was a really interesting space to be in. A lot of people who were practicing a form of intimacy that is more like practiced rather than it being sex. More like I would say like a Zen Buddhist monastery. Completely goalless and focused on the female orgasm. Now, when we say female orgasm, a lot of people, when we say orgasm, they think about it as the climax. We distinct between climax and orgasm is more the energy that's here all the time, feelable between everybody, like before the bedroom, during the bedroom, and after the bedroom. And so this has been 9 years ago. This is where we met. We've been I was still engaged with my fiance, and I was at one of these retreats, and I've been learning there, and I've been supporting the retreat there. And my fiance back in the UK was secretly crushing on her flatmate, and I could feel it immediately. And I was basically slowly coaching her into allowing herself to open to this desire. And I basically sent her 3 times to this man, because every time she came back and she was like, "Oh, it wasn't like with you," and all of that kind of stuff. She said all the things that she wanted, that she thought she had to say in order to be safe, to really open to her own desire there, to the truth of her own desire. And after the 3rd time, because I kept sending her back being like, if you still think that way, like you haven't actually allowed yourself to open, and you haven't really let this man fully in. After the 3rd time, she kind of came back, and she started sobbing, and she was just full of gratitude. She was like, "Thank you so much. Like, I actually got something there that I didn't know I could access." And I was always like, "Can we try letting other people in?" And she was always against that. And after this moment, she was like, "I know you always wanted this. I think you should have your own experiences." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, why don't you go right now where you are, ask the person that's most uncomfortable to you." And I knew immediately who that was. And I texted Sasha, and I did you notice this?
I did.
I texted Sasha. I was like really shy. I was like, I probably maybe 3 years out of being a drunk alcoholic, and didn't know how to like really work with women yet. And so I just sent her a text message, and I said like, "Do you want to make out tonight?" And Sasha responded back.
Do you mean to tell like what?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So a little bit of context. I didn't have his number saved in my phone, and I knew it was somebody who was there in the retreat center, but I didn't know whose number it was. It was just like a UK or like European number, like weird extra digits. I was like, I don't know who this is. And I just see this like, would you like to make out tonight? And I was checking with my body and I was like, well, I'm a yes. And I was like, I'm going to say yes. And then afterwards I'll find out who I just said yes to. So I would pass yes. And then I go like looking through the threads to figure out who I had said yes to. But I had been trained and I was already really aware of how clear my body's responses are. And I was like, the body is an instant yes. The head has a lot of things to say about it. The head has preferences. The head wants it to be a certain way, but the body doesn't have that. So I was in a long period already at that point of training and listening to my body and honoring her and really like using that as the compass for the guide of how I live and navigate. So I said yes, and then I found out it was Moritz.
Plus, this was within the setting of this community, and we've been practicing for years how to really place one's own center of safety in your own bodily experience rather than on outside circumstances, right? Our society trains us constantly to like look outwardly for making us safe, and it fosters this victim mentality that we are in, and it puts the blame onto the man, like he's not doing this and this and this in order for me to be like feeling like his little princess, right? But it's
Or I can't open because he's not showing up to make it safe for me. There's an entitlement of like he needs to do something for me so that I can allow myself to feel what I want to feel. But that's not how it really is for me these days. That's what my conditioning says. My conditioning says like he's in charge of making it safe, and if he doesn't make it safe, then I get to blame him and I don't have to take responsibility for holding that safety in my own body. And this is a big concept. If you've never heard it talked about this way, just keep listening.
We will talk about this deeply on these calls, because this also doesn't mean that the man doesn't have a responsibility. Like on the contrary, like we're gonna talk at depth on these containers, how the man can hold a container, how the man can hold a safe space. And I believe that if you learn some of these skills, you will be able to literally hold a space where any form of trauma that is stuck in a woman's body or in a man's body, this from this lifetime or passed down from your entire family lineage, can be resolved, can be removed from your energetic body. And there's no magic witchcraft needed for that to be the case. But just a really sensitivity and care and good communication, and a little bit a open mind to experience something that's maybe a little bit beyond what we are usually expecting from our current level of sex education out there that is very limited and poor.
Yeah, I want to add something.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about some concepts, and some of them we're speaking directly to, and some of them were like we're circumventing them a little bit on purpose. Like we're giving the energy of some of these concepts because we're talking from an experience that some of you may have had or some of you may never have had. And one thing that I want to illuminate for you is that in this kind of relating, rather than saying like when we come together to have a connection, have a make out, have intimacy, like maybe have intercourse or maybe have like a deep experience together, the status quo's view on sex or intimacy of that kind is that someone is doing something to the other. He's going to touch my body in the right way, and then I'm going to feel the thing I want to feel. Or I'm going to give him amount of pleasure for a certain amount of time, and then he's going to give me pleasure back. And it's very commerce oriented. And so what we're looking at is both of us coming together rather than one doing something to the other or it being transactional. We're actually both coming together to feel the energy that's arising between the two people. And we're both feeling an energy that's arising between us. Nobody is performing. Nobody is giving in order to get something back. If we're like, I'm entitled to you giving me safety, that's transactional. Then he has to show up a certain way in order for me to receive what I want to receive. And that game has diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So a lot of this from the woman's perspective, I just want to say, like, if there's ever been a time in your life where you were like, I want to be receiving, I want his attention, I want to feel his love, I want my body to feel good, I want to receive pleasure. That comes from learning how to feel what's arising between the two of you instead of coming into the experience like, I need to perform a certain version of the woman that I want to be, or I have to like say a thing and be a good woman or good girl in order to get what I want in relationship. This is really more a way that is going to take all of that conditioning and put it to the side and teach us as women how to listen to our own bodies in a totally different way. And when we're showing up in relationship, not performing, the amount that we can receive and the way that we receive it is so different.
Yeah. And yeah, so this is all we're talking about here is also, it's not just about sex. It's not just about receiving in the realm of physical intimacy, but these principles, they permeate our entire life.
Yeah.
And I wanna share a little bit more, and then I wanna actually like hand it over to you guys and bring you into the room. We've broken already the rule of having the audience speak first.
Oh.
But it's fine. So, you know, our relationship pretty much immediately. So we had this makeout the very same evening, and I walked like we had it, okay, and it was mind blowing. And the next morning, I went back to my bunk beds, and the next morning I woke up and I was like, had this light bulb moment. I was always praying to understand whether I'm really supposed to marry my fiance in the UK, and something wasn't right. But I also had a history of being a runner, of breaking up, and it leading me to a lot of pain and suffering. And I walked out the next morning after this makeout, and I was like, I know now. Like this is my person. This is my path. I have to walk this way. Now, fast forward, okay? We spent a couple or maybe 3 or 4 incredible weeks, like sometimes long distance, and sometimes I came back to the US. And then there was another workshop that we participated in, because there was constantly workshops, and the whole community sits in these like huge things, and people speak on mics, and her ex gets up on mic and proposes to her. Like right there in front of everybody, right? I sit there and I'm like looking at them, and I'm like getting like roasted on my own chair, and she like big eyes, and then the facilitator was like, why don't you guys go out and talk about this? And they did, right? Now I get on the mic and the facilitator roasts me a little bit further. And then they come back, right? And she like big eyes, and she's like, I said yes. And right, I'm like, what the hell is happening, right? And so the course is over. She comes to me and she's like, I wanted to marry this man like for so long, and he fucked up. She went to New York. He couldn't get his act together and follow his desire, and she's like, but I love you. And I told him too, I'm a yes to this marriage. That's what I feel in my body. That's the truth of my body. But I also want to be with you, and he knows. And in that moment, you know, like I saw 2 things inside myself. One was like a whole like story of my family, and like how everyone will look at me if I like commit to a woman who's never gonna be mine, right? Like this possessive quality that like is just indoctrinated into us and normalized. And then there was this other part of me, and I felt that so clear. And it was like, it doesn't matter. It's not about this woman. What it is about right now is I feel my heart is beaming into this direction. and I can go back home where everything is gray, where everything is normal, or I can follow my heart. And that's what I did, and I've never regretted this. And today, if you've paid attention, there was a little box coming onto the screen for a moment and disappeared again. That's my other partner. I think she got a jolt of electricity and couldn't quite stay with us here, and that's okay. But I've been in another relationship for 9 months, and um, the only way that Sasha and I are able to navigate these things are because our marriage, our relationship isn't aimed to be a white picket fence, happily ever after kind of relationship. On our marriage, we read each other the shadow vows, like how we will actually like show up for real, not just the candy floss promises, but the real humans that we are, including all of our flaws, including all of the things that we are still here to explore. And we right now we're facing losing our land. We're facing having to potentially like make a big pivot. We don't know where it's gonna lead. But all we are committed to is that I want I want her to be free. She wants me to be free, that both of us can grow into the human beings that we really desire becoming, instead of shackling each other down into a promise that will eventually die and will eventually get old and actually lock us in to being people that we don't feel right to be anymore. So this is, go ahead, please.
I just want to add that so we're giving you the full depth of like who we are and what our relationship looks like, and some like taboo things, right? We're just laid out a few of them. We're just laid out. And I just want to say, like, this comes from us being in devotion to obeying our own truth instead of obeying our conditioning. And a lot of times our conditioning says, like, this is what it is to be a good man, or this is what it is to be a good woman, and this is how you need to be accepted by the one, by a partner. We are not dogmatic. We don't think every single person needs to have an open relationship to have freedom. What we do think is that you need to be able to hear and express your own truth in order to live in this way of being in connection with that truth instead of the conditioning, and being in connection with that freedom of like, who am I going to become? And that we're sharing our truth that's true for us. It doesn't mean it's the same as yours. And I just want to name that, like, we're giving you these wide ideas to kind of blow your mind and kind of like take out the stops so that you can imagine, like, what's my truth? What do I want to feel? How do I want to create in my life? And that doesn't have to look like how ours looks.
Absolutely. In fact, it will not.
Couldn't if you tried.
Yeah. Okay. We can blow minds more later, but now I would love to hear from you guys. And let's start with like just your name and what shall we do? It's like difficult to can't do like a how do you feel right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start there. This is
what thing you're feeling right now?
This is my name, and this is like a sensation that I'm feeling in my body right now.
Why don't you pick the order?
And we go
Peter and Sarah,
Ella, Maureen, and then back to us.
Hi, I'm Peter Mendes, and how am I feeling? I love the story. I mean, of your how you guys met, and it was really beautiful. And I knew part of it, but I didn't know the first part. I had never heard you had another. You're you're engaged, so that's cool. And yeah, I'm excited for me and Sarah to.
And what are you feeling about? Like, give us.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
So sensation, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Is a label. Sensation is like I'm feeling my pelvis, and there's warmth and like tingling, and
there's warmth and bubbly and Yeah, just warmth and effervescence.
Beautiful.
Effervescence?
Effervescence.
Like
Hey.
champagne?
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
that.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah. I would describe the feeling in my body right now as probably like slightly tense between my throat and my solar plexus. There's a little bit of a like a apprehension, maybe like slight, even though everything, you haven't shocked me or told me anything that I haven't thought about, experienced, but I feel, yeah, just maybe like a slight skepticism is maybe how I would describe it.
Great.
Like,
I
yeah.
I want to give full permission for
Mhm.
that to be like true, and I'm super excited if you are up for it later to dive a little into that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Ella?
Hi, I'm Ella. I've been on a journey to come back into my own ability to even recognize sensations in my body at all. And if it's okay with you, I would rather just keep it private.
That's okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marine. I am excited. So I'm feeling a bit jittery, sort of like being around here, but also a bit constricted, a bit sort of like, oh, okay, what am I going to discover about myself?
Thank you.
So, yeah, but definitely excited about this, having found you guys, and it's just at the right time of my life, and yeah, lovely. I'm looking forward to whatever comes up.
Beautiful. Love that.
Thanks.
Sure. I'm Sasha. I feel this sensation in my shoulders, like behind my shoulders, and it feels like something pumping, like it feels like energy moving up and down behind my back. I really want to describe it with metaphor, but the feeling is just like expansion and like a rising in my chest, like a something bursting outward from my center.
Beautiful. Yeah, I feel also my chest. There's like some expansion, and it's shooting up, kind of like very, very subtle tingles up my back of my spine. And then I also definitely feel like some kind of like nervous, excited, like energy at the base of my spine. Now, I want to use this right here as an opportunity to lead us into a little bit of a teaching moment. So, if you've noticed, each one has expressed either excitement or slight tightness, right? So, first of all, what that is, excitement is always something we should be kind of cautious with, because excitement, especially as men, can get us to rush past something that needs attention. Now, the thing that the special thing here that's happening is like this call is talking about subjects that are not very common, and so excitement is very natural that comes about in this moment. It's like when you talk about potential intimacy with a partner that you've never had intimacy with, it's easy to get excited and then rush right into it without and ignoring that one thing is really the most important thing before you start, and that is setting the container, and that is creating a safe ground. So I want to do that. So first of all, I wanna invite all of you to just take a big breath and especially connect with your feet and maybe the surface that you're sitting on. And with each exhale, to send any kind of nervousness, any kind of excitement down into the ground. Now, I wanna say this. No one here is required to play. No one here will be dragged out of a hole. I want all of you to feel permission to be exactly how you are. And it is my utmost intention that all of you feel safe here, that there's no rush, there's no pressure that's going to be applied here. We just took our clothes off, which was like emotionally, to show you what's possible. And at the same time, it's important to come back to a grounded fashion of where things actually are, right? This was like a demo, what Sasha and I just did. And we realized that everyone starts exactly where they are. And that's okay, including all the resistances and apprehensions and maybe even like, oh my God, tightness, because this subject really can bring about things that have been stuck for a long time, and trauma, sexual abuse, all sorts of things. Okay, and I also want to make you aware that right now there's a recording that's happening. So I want you to recognize the kind of space and container that is being held here, including that it is recorded. And if there's something that you feel you don't want to share here, I want you to make that choice. Am I feeling safe to share something, or is this something that I want to share maybe another time, maybe in a more private setting? And both of that is absolutely okay. So if you ever get to a place where you say, maybe I started talking, but now I'm having feelings about this, you can simply at any time raise your hand and say red. Okay? And when you say that, I will stop right there. I will not continue. I will recognize that you have reached a limit or a boundary. Okay? Can we agree to take responsibility in that way?
Mm-hmm.
For ourselves? Okay, great. Awesome. Now, speed and pressure are something that we need to be incredibly aware of when we work with another human being. And that goes in how we speak, that goes in how we may come in contact. And so I want you to adopt the ability to say, please slow down. Okay, that's going to be a very important one. You can use that with anybody. It's so simple, it's so universal, but that's one very, very simple, very powerful way to give someone else an understanding that you are not ready yet for that level of intensity. Okay. Anything else you would like to add? No? Good. Okay. Now, let's see. I want to bring it back to you guys. What's anyone can come into the room and share, and that's takes courage. I know. What would you like to talk about? What's something that you'd like attention on? And for example, the part of the tightness, we can absolutely talk about that, for example, in whatever form. Do you feel like talking about that, Sarah? since you
Yeah, I was just thinking about the language behind it, and what was coming up for me as you were talking is that I noticed that my nervous system tracks everybody. It tracks everybody in the room. And
Yep.
so like my nervous system is tracking me, it's tracking him, it's tracking you, Sasha, Ella, everybody. And it's just interesting to just sit here and notice that, which I think is why like I feel the apprehension, just because there's a lot going on, and it's challenging for me to just kind of I guess that is bringing the focus back to myself, just noticing that I'm tracking, and
Yeah.
that's the language that I put to it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. And I think it's normal. Like it's a new space, it's new people, and
Well, that my body does that in all, like any room I walk into. It's very like I can feel energies. And so it feels like a lot for my nervous system to navigate and manage. Yeah. And that's a common thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You're sensitive and perceptive.
Yeah.
What helps you shift it into like grounding?
Yeah. Slowness, slowing down.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Not putting any pressure on myself to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like even just saying that already just kind of settled me.
Yeah. So being seen and received.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So those are all qualities that I hope Peter's like really having big ears right now.
Oh yeah.
So to work with the body, the first thing that happens that we need to address is how can the body feel safe? How can we feel safe to be in the body? Now that's the foundation on which all things rest.
Mhm.
So we're just starting with that. Now we're kind of doing something really complicated here, because in a one-on-one setting it's easier. It's still complicated, still difficult, and very unique. You cannot say this is making her safe and therefore it must make the next person safe. That doesn't work like that. Every individual has different requirements to feel safe. So curiosity is really something that helps. But it is not entirely chaotic. We can have certain principles, and that principle that we first have to address is like always safety. How can we feel fully safe? And our body will tell us. Like the sensation that you had, that tightening in your chest, that is something that is like, once you give that attention and you address it with respect and care, it will actually tell you what it needs. Beautiful. Who else feels like they feel a sensation? I want to make sure all sensations that you feel in your body are part of our shared experience. Like I regard us right now, like when I close my eyes, I have like an eagle eye bird's perspective, and we are all scattered on the globe in different places, but there's an energetic thread that connects all of us right now just because we are aware of each other. And that thread creates sensations in our body, and these sensations, whatever you feel, no need to dismiss it and say, "Ah, no, this must not be part of this." It is part of it. How about you, Peter? What do you feel right now?
Yeah. So when I talked about effervescence, it's also butterflies. Yeah, the nervous energy of the stomach.
Mhm.
And then when Sarah talked about tightness in the chest, it's like, yeah, there is a little bit of apprehension there as well. Our relationship is somewhat new, and we've navigated some very complex, and we've grown so much in our relationship, like drinking out of a fire hose, and it's been really beautiful
Mhm.
at the same time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so us being on this call together, yeah, like some of the things you shared made me nervous,
Great.
like
Yeah.
the butterflies. Yeah,
Would you
that was
like to share
helpful.
with us what do you make the nervousness mean about yourself?
I definitely know it. I think there's like a fear of loss, maybe at the root of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I will lose Sarah. And then on the other side of that is I will not. I'm It's also the excitement of being able to be free, for us to be free, 100% free to love each other fully and allow ourselves to love others fully. And that's what I love about us. There's just there's love. When I say love others, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean like intimate. I mean, it's just allowing us to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I love the idea of supporting each other to be fully who we are, fully expressed in our self-expression. And yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, yeah, the word exciting, there's anxiety, there's a little bit of, there's all these different feelings that are like in there.
Tangled up in a big ball.
Yeah, no, a big ball.
Yeah. I feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Now I wanna take this for a moment out of the polyamorous realm, okay?
Yeah. Mhm.
Talk about the fear of loss, because the fear of loss is something that we need to really get to know if we really want to access true love.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, okay, in my weird radical opinion, most people don't know what love is, right? They put a ring on it, and then they expect the person to like be there and play their role, and ideally like until the rest of life. And to me, that's not love,
Mhm.
because from
Right.
there, we put the person into a cage. The
Mhm.
cage may be shaped exactly what they look like, all right, but they must not come out of that shape. They must not. They must not grow. They must not evolve or transform, because that's threatening. That's
Right.
threatening, because in that evolved state, I might not possess that person anymore. They might be called into a different direction.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's I'm gonna ask you, Peter, but Sarah, if something I'm saying resonates for you, you can like give me the nod or raise your hand or say like, wait, that's me, okay? Peter, do you feel sleepy right now?
Yeah. Well, I woke up a little tired too. So,
Like, since Moritz has been talking for the last few minutes, do you feel sleepy?
I've been feeling this
Heaviness?
way. Not, I don't know, like I'm
Okay.
checked out.
What are you trying?
I don't think you're checked out. I feel sleepy. Like I feel putting attention on this.
Okay.
Like my energy is like this. And so I was checking in if I was feeling Peter or feeling her.
Or maybe I'm just boring.
No, I would,
Right.
okay, that might be me,
Okay.
because when I sense him starting to get nervous,
Mm.
I I can be very grounded. Like I
Mhm.
start to slow everything down within myself and try to transfer that over to him. So that could be me.
And what is great. Thank you so much for sharing that and for acknowledging that connection.
Yeah, like we're
What
holding our hands and we're
Okay. So
yeah,
what is it,
grounding.
Sarah, for you? Um, you tell me if this language resonates for you, but like when you're like, so as soon as you said that out loud, by the way, just behind the scenes, my sleepiness went away. So I was feeling what you were doing or feeling or creating, and I was feeling it in my own body. And when you named it, I'm like, I'm back.
Okay.
Do you have a sense that you feel like he needs to be protected from something that you're like, what's the story? If he's not grounded, if he's in that nervous energy, what happens for you? What's the impact of him not being grounded?
Well, I guess maybe I don't want that to unground me, but I mean, he can't. I I'm pretty grounded. I can manage that. I can
And over the long term, if your energy is going into grounding him every time that
mm,
happens, is
mm,
there a cost to that?
okay,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay, great. It's just something to be curious about, and I noticed it happening and wanted to name it because it was so strong in my body.
Mhm.
I don't think that you're boring.
No, it's all good.
I want you to keep going with him, and I want to invite you, Sarah, to not ground him right now, just as an experiment. Let
Okay.
him be
Gotcha.
in that energy
Mhm.
with where Moritz is going, and you like sink in with yourself, with your own
Mhm.
system. I too have a deeply open, so does Moritz. Many of us, probably everyone on this call, is like a pretty empathic, open person. I think people that are attracted to us have that because we both have it. I used to sit in this room where I was learning from a teacher that I really had a lot of respect for, and I would sit with like 25 peers, and they would go around the room, and I would be last, and I would be like, "Whoa," on this ride, like every person's thing that they were bringing, and I had this story about how like I wasn't getting the thing I wanted because it was like so hard to feel myself. And I don't hear you having the same story, but I'm naming it because I heard you talk about your experience of like your nervous system having a sense of like where everyone's at and kind of tracking. And
Oh
for
yeah.
this experience, I want to invite you to bend the paper the other way and come into yourself and be like, what's happening here as Moritz continues to go in with Peter?
Okay.
Okay. Just as a game. Then
Yeah.
afterwards you can have it back.
That's fun.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's mm, I'm in a different track all of a sudden now because so see, like the thing is, real love, we allow the other person to be in their mess. But if we bring this into feminine and masculine for a moment, as an analogy, what I'm suggesting right now for you is to actually go into your feminine, right? The feminine is connected to change. It is uh, it is addressing that everything is permanent, that every person is constantly evolving and changing. Okay, so it's something else that creates this rigid expectation that we put on top of someone. Now, a lot of people look at other people just through the lens of this projection, this image. And if it falls out of this image, they're disgusted or they are, what is happening with you, right? Like they reject that. And that's what I meant with like true love sees what is and tries to accept what is and tries to find love again for that what is being seen. In fact, there is already immediately love, because if you don't bring the expectation in, there's nothing to measure it against. Okay, we can only say, I don't love this because it doesn't look the way I project it should. Now, what you guys just did was actually really a good example of this, because women tend to protect men from the feminine. And women themselves are ashamed of their feminine nature. Okay, this is why we have makeup. This is why we have fitness programs. This is why we have all sorts of stuff in order to keep that shape.
What was the first one before fitness programs?
Makeup, whatever.
Makeup.
You can use all of these things in order to underline your feminine. Okay, I'm not shaming anything. Like, even we have friends who do Botox and whatever. I have full approval of that. Okay, this is not to create a stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to point towards something. But we protect, as women protect men from their feminine, and they push it down, because if they were to let that out, it would create so much power for them that a man who is stuck in his patterns would actually be terrified. Now, there was a story that I recently heard, and that was that a friend of mine sat around a table with a bunch of other women, and she started to enjoy her food, really like go into pleasure around it. And she got a lot of sharp looks from the women around her. It's because women police each other to not let that out too much. Okay, now this is the last thing that I'm going to say around this. Imagine Don Corleone. Okay, do you know who Don Corleone is? Yeah. Okay. Super powerful mafia boss. All right. He controls all the structure. Right. Very powerful. Has all the money. Now, a woman would make sure that he doesn't feel that her feminine is coming out. Why is that? Okay, because he gives her, as commerce, economic safety. Now, but if she was really to step into her feminine, Don Corleone and the guy working at the butcher shop are exactly the same. There's no he's better than that. That is our ego. That's the masculine structure saying Don Corleone is better because he has money, he has power, he has all the structure in the world. But the feminine doesn't look at the world like that. The feminine looks at any man because it doesn't have eyes. The feminine doesn't have eyes. The feminine is a felt experience in the body, and the body is simply love. Love this man, love that man. Okay? So when we go into the feminine as men, we have to face our core fear, and that is the fear of loss, because we do not have control over the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
We can only be in the feminine as long as we say, I dare to support women unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And that means they might leave me and they might come back to me. Okay, it's like a bird on your hand. It lands. The moment you grab it, right, the bird is not free anymore. Okay, you have to trust that the bird may fly away and come back. And when you do that, you start to embody your own feminine, and in that moment, you will never be alone again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add something.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
The feminine, which exists in all of us, in men and in women, women tend to have more relationship with accessing it, but doesn't mean that men don't have the capacity to access it the same amount. When Moritz said like the feminine doesn't have eyes, I wanted to give an example of this. Like, the feminine notices how something feels. So this is a great example of this is like me responding to his text, do I want to make out tonight, without knowing who it is. It was like the feminine in me was like, that's a yes. And then my head is like, is it safe? Who is he? Do I like him? Is he cute? Is he single? Is he this? Is he that? All of this measuring stuff. That's the masculine. And I had both. I heard both. And I used the feminine to guide my responding. But it's like this. If I look at the mafia boss and the butcher, I'm like, when I stand in front of the butcher, how does my body feel? How is the quality of the attention of this man, not his ego and his like look good and do attention for performance, but like his actual capacity to bring attention to the moment? And how does my body feel asking the same question, standing in front of this mafia boss, right? Like what is the quality of the feeling of his attention, right? And does my feminine responds with opening or closing? Leaning into something, oh, that feels good. I want to feel it more. Oh, that doesn't feel good. I want to retract.
Also, just a thing I want to throw in here. This is not to shame the masculine either, okay? Like,
No.
we're gonna talk about that also, because we're not people who are like, we are feminist and all masculine and all men and all structure out in the world is evil. Like, absolutely not.
No, we need structure. The feminine absolutely needs structure, and we need healthy masculine to be expressed, and we need masculine in its full range to be expressed too.
Yeah, masculine is like, it supports, it's the hand holding, right? It's just the grip of expectation doesn't happen. That's healthy masculine. Okay, I want to bring it back to you guys. We only have a few more minutes. So any questions or thoughts or feelings that are coming up?
I have
hold on a second. I want to make sure that the other two women also have a chance to talk if they desire to.
What really came up for me with all of this is how much in the past I've not honored myself really, and that feminine, and let myself down in a way, looking back, and allowed myself to ignore what my body was feeling. Just and I definitely know I want to change that. Yeah, I want to honor myself, and this is just right. It's something. Yeah, it's just right. I don't want to say anymore. It's like I'm backtracking all sorts of relationships with other people and myself, because that's really what it comes down to, myself. And I'm very grateful to have come across you guys, to be able to learn this and to express this, and to have support. Yeah, I'm feeling really emotional right now, but
this is so beautiful.
Yeah,
Can I ask you to slow down? The emotion is like you touching that quality of truth, and this is such a beautiful place to practice feeling the body. So as the emotion rises, we want to rush past it, but just like slow down. And it's beautiful. It's so important. It's so necessary, and we all get to be connected to it. And we're not just witnessing you; we're also feeling that softening and that opening when you allow yourself to soften there.
So anyone on the call, feel the sensation in your face and behind your eyes right now. You can all be part of that.
And rather than trying to like stop the tears, because that's usually our impulse, is like, sorry, I'm crying. But like, oh, let the tears flow. That's life. It's beautiful. And this is how you rewire all those places that you're tracing back to. It's like next time you're going to have this memory of like, oh, I have to slow down in that moment. It's okay to feel this much. It's safe to feel this much. You can keep talking if you want to share more. I just wanted you to slow down, and you did it so beautifully. So beautifully.
Thank you. No, I think I'm just gonna sit with this and
Gorgeous.
thank you.
Thank you for your share. Is it Marine? Did
Yes.
I pronounce it right? That was so generous. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really liked the invitation earlier to like reground and allow the energy to go back into the earth. And I also could relate to a lot of the sensations that everyone was feeling. Like I felt a lot of the same ones, and I was really proud of myself for not sharing my sensations. Like that feels like a win for me. And that felt like I built trust in my body when I did that. So
thank you for honoring
yeah,
yourself. That was gorgeous.
thank you.
And I want to make sure that like like whenever you come on these calls, like you can open in your own time, and I invite you to continue honoring the exact pace that your body wants to go at.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, you guys, do you have anything else, Peter? Or Sarah?
I'm good. No, I don't have anything else right now.
Yeah, just touching on what you shared about with regards to the feminine and the masculine. I've definitely experienced some of how the feminine and how it shows up. Like when I use the word compersion, it's kind of I'm still learning what that really is and feels because I think there's so many layers to the onion. But then what I got present to was for me like feeling really experiencing true love inside of the container of compersion. The container was created by the masculine. Like there was certain like I feel like I've been playing with this, but like by communicating having certain real clear boundaries and ways of moving in the world and having agreements in a relationship, which is kind of the masculine part, creates the freedom to then let go and let the feminine be free to love. I don't know. That's the cerebral part of it.
It's good. It's translating well up there.
Yeah. And so that's kind of something that I'm still learning about that, but I feel like that's there's something there for me.
Great. Beautiful. Thank you.
Sarah, did you notice anything for the rest of the call, like bringing your attention back to yourself? Did you feel any shift or anything interesting you want to share? Doesn't have to be, but.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed is when I did reach back over and touch his hand, it was for me, not for him.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do a round leading us out of this call. So this call is happening every 2 weeks. If you enjoyed it, please mark it on your calendar. There is either this call or it flip-flops.
You could see it on the last screen. You could see it
Here.
right there. This one.
Yeah. So it's either this call or it flip-flops with a call just for men. So it's men's coaching. And then Wednesday, we have a sobriety and recovery call, flip-flopping with a reflector call. I'm not going to talk about the reflector call right now. But the sobriety call and recovery call is also really powerful. Both Sasha and I have been in recovery for many years, and this call specifically, I'm going to treat this not as a specific addiction, but as a matter of fact, all addictions come back to actually we're not addicted to alcohol, we're not addicted to codependent things, right? Like that's also an addiction, our codependency, or to substances, or to process, right? Like scrolling on your phone, that's a process addiction. But all of these come ultimately back to an addiction to dopamine, cortisol, and other brain chemistry. And I actually have a table that like shows all of these. Now, really what we are practicing in this call is becoming aware of our own patterns, of our own conditioning, and we talk about tools and a way to really truly get free. And I think it's almost a foundation for healthy relationship is that we become clear of where we are stuck in habits, projections, addictions, and all of that. So you are welcome to join that. The addiction call is always going to be free because it's part of my offering for the recovery community. This call, the men's call, and the reflector call are part of the membership of this community. It's $60 a month. There's also on Monday, it's a morning practice call where we go into like, how do you set yourself up for the day? Really grounded, clear, and free of fear and all stuff.
Can they see the calendar with everything if they're not a member yet? Can they see all the different calls listed somewhere on the Skool?
You can see the calendar. I don't know if you see the calls. I think you should see. Yeah, you should see the calls.
Yeah.
So if you click on them, like usually, like on some calls, there's then a paywall. So this call, for example. Now, I said this before, if there's really some form of like intense financial hardship and you're like, I really need this, but I don't know how to make this happen, I totally understand. Just come to me and we'll talk about it and we'll find maybe a different way to exchange or whatever. But yeah, if you enjoy this and you want to support us and you want to learn here, it's a lot of different things that are being offered every week, and we would love to have you in our community this way and have your input and your energy here. So with that, let's do our last prompt. This is something I'm taking away from this call, and we go again. Pete and Sarah, Ella, and Marine, and then back to us.
I'll just say thank you, Sasha, for bringing awareness to what you did for me, and that's something I'll definitely play with.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, what I'm taking away or coming away with is I'm actually it's really easy for me, but today it's like it's not crystal clear. I think there's just still the butterflies and now there is a little tightness in the chest, but there's also gratitude for you guys and for this opportunity.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
I'm going to take away more permission to slow down and and just a little bit more a deepened trust in my body and in my own sense of myself. So
awesome. Thank you.
Actually, noticing more when my body's showing me the need to slow down and honoring that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I am leaving here with just like a connection to, like a really nurturing quality of putting attention on each other and how powerful that is in relationship, and just like feeling all of the different shares and notes that were here in this call. It was so gorgeous, and I feel like filled up.
Yeah, I also feel a sense of being filled up and feeling lighter and more joyful and connected. Okay, you guys, I hope I see you on the next call. Have a beautiful rest of your week.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.